There is no mountain that cannot be moved in his name. Jesus, there is no cannot be filled in his name.
Welcome back to Wisdom and Life. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking my videos, commenting and sharing. And more so, if you're watching and you have not subscribed, kindly press on that subscription button and press also on the notification button so that we notify you every time we have a new video. Today's topic is an interesting one. It's something that has been on my mind the whole of this week. I've just been thinking about how do we respond to bad news? How do we receive news from the doctor? How do we receive news from someone who has come with not so very good tidings? And I've just remembered a story in the early millennium when I was in the school of nursing. And sometimes some patients will be diagnosed with a critical illness or a terminal illness, and they will not even take time before they go to be with the Lord. Some patients with the same condition, with the same clinical presentations, will fight all the way to their end. And for me, I would rather die while fighting. I would rather die while fighting rather than give up immediately. And even if you are to live for a long life or a short life, please live it, make it a quality life. Don't live a miserable life, a life of denial, a life of where you're just thinking that is death ahead of you, death ahead of you. It is not something nice to think about. I remember this story I was doing on Facebook. If you've not read my stories on Facebook, please follow me on Sophie Simon. I was doing a series about grief when I lost my mother. And one of the things that the model I love to use even to date is the Ross Kubler model and of grief. Ross Kubler talks about the 5 stages of grief. And believe you me, these are the same stages that you will use when it comes to loss. And sometimes it's not just loss of a life, it could be loss of a job, it could be loss of something precious in your life, even loss of a part of your body, loss of the quality life that you used to live. And there is this one philosopher who came and improved on this Ross Kubler model of grief. And Jennifer Martin talks about 7 stages of, she calls it of grief and chronic illness. Today I just want to talk about how do we respond to chronic illness report, how do we respond to a doctor's report that is not so good, how do we respond to a loss, how do we respond. And for me, as I handle this topic, I just wish that we could look at the quality aspect of life. And I'm not saying that because I am alive today after having had to go through the process of cancer stage 3B. I'm talking about that person out there. I'm talking about you who is watching this video and you have just received those bad news. I want us to talk about this process of Jennifer Martin. And number 1, it is denial. Denial is when you cannot agree with that report. Denial is when you say, no, this can't be me. You say, no, this can't be true. You say, no, the doctor must have made a mistake somewhere. You say, no, this can't be happening to me. And I've had people who, sometimes when they say this can't be me, and God is asking them, who can it be? Do you have an answer to that question? I'm sure you do not have an answer to that question. So I'll bit vulnerable and give this story about when I lost my mom in 2019. Shortly after, I think about a month or two, my blood pressure was high, was skyrocketing. I used to check because of the frequent headaches that I had begun getting. So my blood pressure could go as high as 180 over 110. And when you have blood pressure that is as high as that, with 3 consecutive readings, you are considered to be hypertensive. There are many other diseases that could be threatening, even diabetes, even heart conditions, chronic illnesses that you may need to take long with medication, or even life-threatening. You could die anytime. And sometimes it may not be easy to actually accept that this is me. So what happened, I went through denial for about a year, and the doctor who was seeing me kept telling me, Sister Sophie, you can't be serious. You are a medic. You should be knowing these things. But I want to tell you there's a difference between the profession and now you having that disease. There's a very big difference. And that time, I'll just check, continue checking. And sometimes I would go even for weeks without checking my blood pressure. And for a whole year, I did not take any medication. That was denial. The next time I decided I want to take medication, I went to a different hospital and I went to see a different doctor. And that hospital, I remember, did not have a lift, but it had stairs. So I would walk. Then when I reach during the triage, even if I've sat for about a few minutes, I'll say, that's not my blood pressure. That is, I've just walked the staircases and now I'm fatigued. So I'll sit even 1 hour, hoping and trying to believe that my blood pressure will come down. That was denial. I had been in denial for a whole year, and now even going to the second doctor for a second opinion, I'm still in denial. I want to make I'm wishing and hoping that a different diagnosis would come up. So what am I trying to say? The point I'm trying to drive across is that denial is dangerous. Yes, it is. You need to be in that denial for you to be able to move to the next level of the process. But sometimes if you stick in that denial for a long time, you may mess up. I was a medic. I understood that high blood pressure is dangerous for the eyes. High blood pressure is dangerous to the heart. High blood pressure is dangerous to the kidneys. But I still was in denial and could not accept starting medication. That is the point I just want to drive across. So don't give up so easily. And for me, I usually say, when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I told myself there are many other causes of death. I had just lost my mother like 2 years before I was diagnosed. And my mother did not die of breast cancer. She died of a road traffic accident. There are people who die in their sleep. There are people who they're seated and they die. There are people who, while crossing the road, a car knocks you down. So please don't die in your mind. Because sometimes we die because of the mental strength. I've talked about it in one of the videos. Please check it out. That you are a whole you. It is not just the sick you. So if the mental part of you is not well, if the emotional part of you is not well, if the spiritual part of you is not well, then you're going to really have a hard time in facing this disease. So please, don't give up so easily. Learn to be present in the moment. Learn also to have a quality life. Even if it's going to be short life, make sure it is quality. But if you stay in denial and die in denial, you'll have lived a really pathetic life.
Zangu, 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 zangu ni Shukrani.